welcome back to Coffee with the Wolves, presented by JJC Athletics. As always, I'm Damian Dennis, and I'm joined this week by bowling coach Jeff Bailey. Jeff, welcome back to
Hello.
the show.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
It's been a while. We had you on for the
Yeah.
first time and the only time in the spring after the national championship tournament.
Yes.
So it's great to have you back here.
It feels good. I like this interview stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Last time you were here, again, it was just after the national tournament. Maddie Lave had won the national championship in women's singles bowling.
Yes.
As kind of a big deal around here.
Yeah.
But now we're here to talk about the start of the season. You just had your first tournament over the weekend. Just tell us a little bit about how that went.
um, I, I I mean, I guess there's some different ways you can look at it. I expected a little bit more than what we had, but being that it's our first event, you kind of have to give them the time to get reacclimated with the environment, with everything going on, getting back into the competitive nature. Um, you try to prepare as much as you can while you're in practice, but things hadn't been going too well in practice. So a little bit of my fault for not keeping up on staying competitive in practices. So again, we learned our weaknesses. I learned my weakness, and we're going to move on and improve from there. So, but all in all, the weekend was good. Um, the chemistry with the boys and the girls is great. There's no friction. Everybody gets along. Everything's great. So that's one thing that I'm excited about for the season is everybody still, there's not much
Yeah.
friction between the kids. So really excited for that.
Can you tell us a little bit about Tyler Richter's performance as well as Maddie Lave's? Obviously, Maddie is the defending national champion.
Yeah.
But she kind of paced the women's team over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, he paced the men's team. So
Yes. Obviously, the the um, I can't remember what the name of it is. The Golden Eagle Invite, I
Yeah.
think it was. Yes. Obviously, Tyler loves that event because he bowled well last year. He was all tournament team last year. This year he bowled well. He was averaging 216, and I was pretty surprised to see him finish so low. Um, but between him and Tyler, I think those two are the veterans that are coming up that are really going to pave the way. Tyler and Kyrie, those guys are going to be the ones that pave the way, along with Guy Carbonero. All those guys are there to teach the ones that are just coming on as freshmen or transfers from another college that this is the way we do things and to be competitive. And Tyler's and Kyrie's and even Guy's mindset is we want to win,
Yeah.
and I think that's what they bring to the team is their culture and their feelings towards what they want to accomplish.
yeah, and then kind of the same question, but about Maddie.
Maddie, again, we struggled a little bit over the weekend, trying to get comfortable, and we were just kind of chasing things a little bit. And the final day, things clicked a little bit. So I would really like to get that going quicker. But all in all, Maddie kept us straight. She kept a good head on her shoulders. She stayed confident, and we worked things out. And again, between her and Abby, Lydia, all those girls are going to be there to help the other ones understand that we want to go in to win, and we need to keep that focus.
When it comes to bowling,
Mhm.
especially competitively, which is not a thing I'm super familiar with,
Okay.
but how do you go about kind of really building chemistry amongst these student athletes and kind of getting them to work together? Because there's an individual aspect to
Mhm.
it, but also, those points translate to
Right.
the team points.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, in the sport of bowling, a lot of it is about me instead of us, and um, I always try to, and I haven't done it this year, so you gave me a good reminder to talk about that. That I try to let them know that it's not about me, it's about us, and I keep trying to tell them that after all the events, practices, and everything else, and I think the team chemistry, I just kind of let it form on its own, and just keep an eye on things, And if things just don't look comfortable or look right, then I'll have a conversation and say what's going on. But for the most part, the chemistry is there, and I think if they all get along and they're all on the same page and they all have the same kind of goal and vision, then the chemistry just kind of falls in place. But again, you just got to keep an eye on it to make sure that to make sure everybody's comfortable with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
What are practices like for these teams? Because sometimes I'll see like the baseball team out these windows here practicing.
Yeah.
I can kind of get a feel for how baseball practices or soccer or
Mm-hmm.
basketball. Bowling though, is everybody kind of bowling on their own at practice, or are you kind of doing everything together as a team?
A little bit of both. Um, a lot of them are together working with each other. Again, the upperclassmen are working with the lower ones and helping them out to better their game and their fundamentals. But the past month, while we were getting prepared, it was just where they were just going out and bowling. I didn't really pay much attention to doing any type of drills. But this past week we've been working on drills. One of our weaknesses is picking up spares, so that is one thing that we're going to work on a couple days a week, along with getting some game repetitions in, along with the drills that we call them. So again, the past month is just where they come in, they bowl the best they can, they bowl. The first 3 days of practice, I had evaluations to see where they fit on the team.
Yeah.
But then after that, it was just they came out and bowled. Unfortunately, I was really tied up with trying to get things off the ground, with getting paperwork taken care of, getting entries. So I just kind of let them do what they wanted to do. But now that I'm kind of caught up a little bit, now it's game on.
Yeah.
Now we're moving forward and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna get that championship mindset.
Yeah. So this past weekend, kind of a good, let's say, like tune up in a way.
Yeah.
Like we've been off for so many months,
Yes.
and we have new faces. We're gonna come back in, just kind of bowl, see where we're at. Okay, this is where we're at. This is what we need to do correct.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and again, when you go into these events, you really, I mean, I would think it's like this on any sport, but it kind of depends on what side of the bed you wake up on in the morning.
Yeah.
You're going to have a good day or you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a decent day, mediocre day. You want the outcome to be a great day, but sometimes it just isn't there.
Yeah.
So this tournament was kind of not really a mediocre day. I think it was a very productive day. But this tournament kind of gauges what we need to work on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, what are your expectations for the season? Both teams.
I don't want to put any type of label on one specific person. I think I would rather label it as a team.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, we want a championship. We want to win. We want to bring a trophy to the school as the second year program, a brand new program. The pressure's on to bring that trophy home. But at the end of the day, it just has to be taught or learned that if you go in there and you've given 150% and you feel comfortable and you feel proud of your accomplishment, whether it be good or bad, it just wasn't our time. So I really want to focus on that, is give everything you have.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, if it just didn't work out, it didn't work out. At least we can walk away saying we gave it all we did, and we worked as hard as we could and gave it everything. And
Yeah.
there's some very competitive teams out there that have a lot of good bowlers, and we want to be shoulder to shoulder with them.
Yeah.
And prove to them that, yeah, we're a junior college. We don't have what you have, but we can still keep up with you and give you a run for the money. So
Yeah. So when's your next tournament?
our next tournament is next Saturday. We leave Friday night to Indianapolis. It's one of the bigger tournaments of the year. It's the Western Shootout.
Okay. I'm glad you remembered the name,
Yeah.
because I just uploaded your schedule a week or two ago and I can't remember.
Yeah. So that's a big tournament that a lot of big teams are there. So again, we'll be able to gauge where we sit and how we fare with other big teams. So really excited. And again, the kids are really focused right now to better themselves. And we've had a discussion about what they want from me, and I have to honor what they're asking. So we're gonna push forward. So
Cool. Well, Jeff, I appreciate you taking the time to join me here on
yes,
the on Coffee with the Wolves. I gotta ask,
yes.
there's always a conspicuous lack of coffee on this show.
Uh-huh.
What's your go-to coffee drink?
It's usually iced coffee. I do. It's a crazy mix. I had somebody try it and they loved it, but it's an iced coffee. It's mocha with coconut swirl or coconut shot, cream and sugar, and it tastes like an almond joy.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
Yes. Yes.
I need you to send me
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
recipe.
Yep. Or mocha and caramel, and it's supposed to taste like chocolate milk. That's
that
that's
sounds good
that's
too.
my yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
up next here on Coffee with the Wolves, we're gonna have Tyler Richter of the men's bowling program. But Jeff,
Yes.
again, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And next up here on Coffee with the Wolves, I'm joined by Tyler Richter of the men's bowling program. Tyler, welcome to Coffee with the Wolves.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. It's your first time here on Coffee with the Wolves, but not our first time working together. So it's great to have you on here to talk a little bit about the bowling season so far. You just started last weekend. Uh, you know, uh, Tell me a little bit just about kind of how you feel with the bowling season beginning.
Honestly, it's very exciting. It's been something I've been waiting for all year since the last season ended. And last season didn't really go how we planned. And last year, actually, at this first tournament, we placed fourth, and we didn't place as well at this one. So it's kind of like a building moment, kind of an eye opener to the start of the season. So we're trying to look into going into this next tournament with kind of a closed mind and more of an open mind of what we have to do and what we have to do to compete and win.
Yeah. This weekend, you guys participated. What was it? The Eagle Invitational up hosted by Rock Valley, right?
Yeah, it was at the Don Carter.
Yeah. Men's side finished 14th out of 23. Uh, how do you kind of mentioned how you feel about that? Like last year, you guys placed fourth. This year, you fell down 10 spots. Just what's that feel like to you?
I feel like we could have done a lot better, but we have a few new guys on the team, so we're still trying to mend and build a bond together as a
Yeah.
team. But I definitely feel like there was a few factors that we could have fixed to help us improve and place better and score better than we did. But it was definitely a fun time at that first tournament. We're still bonding as a team, still trying to get to know each other, and it was an exciting tournament. But we definitely have some things to work on going into the next tournament.
Yeah. You finished. You had a great finish, though. 24th out of 289 bowlers. Final score of 1071, 5-game average, 214. Got to be feeling good about your individual performance, at least.
Yes. It was very fun, being able to go out there, go on the lanes, do what I do best, and get marks, get strikes, and do what I can do for my team. I'm not really worried about my individual standings or stats, but it's very eye-opening, very nice to see that all the work that I've put in is showing off and being showed off on the lanes, and everyone's able to see what I can do.
Yeah. You're a sophomore here at JJC. Because we've never had you on Coffee with the Wolves, I ask all first-comers to the show this question. What is your major, and what kind of drew you to JJC?
So my major is sports media. I'm looking to be a play-by-play announcer. And what drew me to JJC was Jeff Bailey. He's the bowling coach. He was recruiting me and was talking to me last year about him starting up the bowling team and just giving me names of who people that were going to be coming here and all the different things that he was trying to do with the program. And that's really what drew me to JJC. And I really just wanted to come here to get my gen eds out of the way and have a good starting point for my education as well as my athletic career.
What's the experience like here at JJC as a student athlete?
Oh, it's awesome. I've met many different people, especially with doing the play-by-play here at JJC. Met many different people on the basketball team, the baseball team, men's and women's basketball team as well. And it's been a cool experience because, we see each other in the hallways and we know each other, We give each other fist bumps and everything. It's a good experience to have a bond with other athletes that are here at JJC.
Yeah. How does bowling differ from the other sports here at JJC? Just I mentioned to you before we hit record. I'm not familiar with competitive bowling. I know how to bowl,
Yeah.
but on the competitive side, it's kind of foreign to me. So when it comes to the bowling student athletes here in like this building, your experience might be a little bit different than, let's say, the basketball players.
Yeah, it's a lot of people don't really view bowling as like something like as a sport, something you can do competitively, but it's actually something that's very time consuming as well. Like it's like any other sport. A lot of work goes into it, a lot of dedication, a lot of mental game, and a lot of different aspects that go into, many hours in the bowling alley doing different drills, doing different like working on different patterns, working with different people, different coaches. There's a lot of things that go into it, and people tend to look at it as something that you just go to do for fun, but it's actually something that you can really do as a lifestyle and as a living
Yeah.
and make a living off of it.
How did you get into bowling? Because you mentioned kind of, most people just think of it as a fun thing to do. I remember going bowling on the weekends in high school.
Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of like that. But I also know I had friends in high school who were competitive bowlers. For you, how did you kind of get into the sport? Did it start by just going bowling in your free time, and did it evolve into like, I want to do this competitively?
No, so I was actually kind of born into it. My shout out to my mom. She went to Nebraska on a scholarship for bowling when they first started giving them out. And then my uncle, he's one of the greats, very known throughout the bowling community, and my cousins as well, very known throughout the bowling community. So I was kind of born into it, and I kind of just took it was it kind of just what's been in my blood. So I kind of just took it, ran with it, and it's got me somewhere, and it's got me here at JJC.
Did you ever play any other sports when you were in middle school, high school?
Yeah, I played basketball as well as baseball. So, but once I played those, I kind of realized like this isn't for me. But I have knowledge in both of those sports, but more of the physical aspect of the game was more towards bowling, and that's what I was really strong in. So that's what I stuck with.
Yeah. Let's jump back to JJC bowling. I know your coach has said, you said it earlier, some new faces on this team. You're kind of working on building chemistry. How does that work in this environment? Because you had that great individual finish, but the team's finish wasn't as great. So, like, there was an individual component. I know from last year, Maddie Lave won the national
Yeah.
championship, for example, in singles bowling. How does it kind of differ? Like, you have your individual performance, but then the team performance.
Yeah, it's kind of you have to focus on both aspects, but you kind of have to be very vague on when you focus with your individuals. You want to perform very well for yourself, but you're really performing for your team. So you're looking to perform for yourself, but you're looking more to perform for your team. So you want to score well, like as I'm saying, for your team, but you're trying to score well so that it's not for you, but it's actually for your team because all pinfall that you get goes towards your team. It's not really for you.
Yeah.
So you're really looking. It's kind of just building off of it, what everybody else is shooting and kind of doing what everybody else is doing and working with each other to do the best that we can do.
How do you build that chemistry?
Honestly, practice every day. You build chemistry. Every day at practice, we do drills like shooting drills, patterns, everything like that. And honestly, it's just talking to everyone, getting to know each other, like getting to know each other's backgrounds. And at tournaments, we room with each other, so you bond in those moments. We bring card games, different games. We do stuff like that in the hotel rooms. So it's kind of like in those moments you build like a relationship with the people, and it's kind of cool.
Cool. Yeah, so I know the season just started for you guys. You got a long road ahead of you. You guys don't bowl every week, and your season extends into the next year.
Yes.
Kind of how do you stay prepared? With long breaks in between these tournaments, and then still kind of a long season.
Yeah, so it's kind of you have to hone in at practice. You got to be very focused at practice. Like working on what you have to work at, listening to Coach Bailey on what you have to work on or what you should be working on, and you have to always be in a competitive, but also like a relaxed mindset when you're practicing because you want to stay in a competitive mode. You want to practice like you play, but you also want to have fun while you're doing it. So you kind of have to balance the two out while you're practicing.
Yeah. Let's jump back to last season real quick, just the end of last season. You guys participated in the national championship
Yes.
tournament. What was that experience like?
It was honestly an eye-opener experience. You know, we saw that we could really compete with the teams that were there, and I'm very excited to do it this year because it is in New York this year. Last year it was in Michigan, and I'm excited to go to New York and experience that place and that area. But I thought it was a very cool experience to see the different talents that come from just JUCO colleges because there are many talented players from the different JUCO colleges compared to like all the coverage and media that these bigger universities get. There's all these JUCO colleges that have like very, very talented bowlers.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, appreciate you joining me here for Coffee with the Wolves. Would love to have you on again. You'll be hearing a lot of his voice if you tune into the men's and women's basketball season live streams this year. We got a whole team in the process. We actually met before
Yep.
this recording to discuss that. So
Yep. I'm very excited. Hoping to back on this podcast because
Yeah.
you know that's a good sign. But I'm hoping I'm back, and yes, you guys will be hearing me on the play-by-plays for basketball, baseball. You'll hear me all on that. But thank you for having me.
yeah. And as always, this has been Coffee with the Wolves presented by JJC Athletics. We will be back next week.